Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. We're going to talk about an interesting personality, and perhaps one could say an unstable type of personality. One could perhaps also say unhinged. That word is used a lot. But today, Alec Baldwin settled a lawsuit with a man that he allegedly punched in the face. This is years before he accidentally ended someone's life. And this is, of course, after he was kicked off of an airplane and arrested twice, and also was sentenced to anger management issues. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. If you want to support my work, the super chat is greatly appreciated. If you want to talk about any topic, in addition to Alec Baldwin, Apple, and the stock market, it's going to continue to crash. And everything that I have stated in the Federalist last October is taking place. We're going to see Bitcoin, unfortunately, and I respect people who invest in Bitcoin, at 10,000, and the Dow is going to get to around 20,000. So hit subscribe to this channel, subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. That's below in the pinned comment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you a question, and you can answer below in the comments section, or you can answer, you can also answer in the chat. How many people do you know? How many people do you know that have been arrested twice? How many people do you know that have been arrested twice and then sentenced to anger management? Okay, so you have right here, Baldwin had previously pleaded guilty to charges of harassment and was sentenced to anger management classes and a fine. Okay, so we'll start off. I mean, this is the moral. This man is part of the moral police, the morality police. Okay, he's part of America's morality police. He's a morally superior liberal Democrat, condemning and judging and pontificating and telling the world how wonderful he is and how good and decent the Democratic Party is, and judging and condemning and opining and pontificating and just basically giving his 2 cents on everything, because he's just so morally superior, and he has to at all times judge others. Meanwhile, literally, a judge is going to be judging him numerous times. He has a total now of 4 lawsuits. One from the script supervisor, one from the chief of lighting, one from a Gold Star family that he went after on Instagram, allegedly, and the estate of the cinematographer has begun the process of a lawsuit. That's 4 major lawsuits. He just settled a lawsuit today with the man he allegedly punched, or the man that he did punch. And so let's look at this. Let's look at this person's personality. They say Trump is a madman and a sociopath and unhinged, and they loved Trump. How many times has Donald Trump ended anyone's life? How about 0? More people lost their lives from you-know-what under mashed potato brains, our current president, so you can't blame him for that. How many times has Donald Trump pointed a loaded firearm at the midsection of a female cinematographer? No, that's Alec Baldwin, the morally superior liberal Democrat. That's him. How many times has Donald Trump punched somebody in the face? No, that's Alec Baldwin. How many times has Donald Trump been kicked off of an airplane? No, that's Alec Baldwin. How many times has Donald Trump been recorded yelling and, saying the most horrendous things on a voicemail? Now, anyone could be recorded in that manner. Everyone is guilty on the planet of saying, really despicable things to somebody they love. But the entire picture is not something you wouldn't want to. If he wasn't famous and wealthy, nobody would want anything to do with this man. Think about that for a second. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. We're almost at 200,000 subs, ladies and gentlemen. If you have friends who might enjoy this channel, tell them. And to my super chat, thank you as always. These are the people you have to understand. Michael Avenatti, Eric Schneiderman, Andrew Cuomo, Chris Cuomo, Alec Baldwin, Juicy Smollett, Jeffrey Toobin. I mean, we can go on forever. The list is endless. These are the people who judge and pontificate and condemn and look down upon half the country. And without every conceivable possible advantage, their ideas don't resonate. That's why you have all of this. That's why you have these attempts to really silence people and shut down debate. And that's why you have this effort, this ongoing effort to stifle discussion and debate and this battle for information, because the information that CNN and others give regarding a whole wide range of topics we don't have to get into, it changes from one day to another. But see, they're allowed to make false statements or false claims or inaccurate claims, or because you know what, they're allowed to flip-flop. But God forbid somebody with a different opinion, with a different viewpoint, then you have 1970s and old 1970s rockers, who, by the way, would have had a different view of free speech. They're coming out of the woodwork and making economic, they're intimidating through economics. If Democrats didn't have the money they have, they couldn't intimidate. They'd have to actually face the consequences of their actions, like Alec Baldwin. Like, there was a time, it's different, like if you're in the 80s and you're like Sean Penn and pushing away the camera. It's like a different time period. And if you want to be this bad boy, try not to be in your 60s or late 50s, punching somebody because of a parking space, or getting kicked off of airplanes, or ending someone's life because you don't check to see if the camera's if the firearm's loaded. I mean, it's not really like, this man just simply has major anger management issues and personality flaws. Donald Trump is a saint. Rudy Giuliani is a saint compared to Alec Baldwin. I would much rather be associated with Donald Trump or Rudy Giuliani than Alec Baldwin. You have to understand something. Like, who are these people without their money? Who are these people without the fame? They're just angry, petulant people. Look what this man allegedly wrote to, you regret donating to her soldier brother that lost his life because of a political belief? What a joke. And then Alec Baldwin, no, because she participated in you-know-what. No, she didn't. She was already cleared, and that's why, if he wrote this, that's why the defamation suit is being leveled at him. He's like completely, if this is accurate, completely and utterly unhinged, unpredictable, And his emotions are, always in this kind of extreme opposite. They're always in this like stock market trading pattern that we see recently. Up, down, up, down, up, down. He feels like he wants to give a charity to a fallen American. Then he gets upset because he wants to condemn and judge why the fallen Marine family member was in Washington that day. Well, it's none of his business. It doesn't even matter. And that word, which I won't say because of the algorithm, that's not accurate. That didn't happen. Okay? There was never an orchestrated attempt at doing anything. And you have the Federal Bureau of Investigation who said, oh, by the way, to Ted Cruz, we can't answer any of your questions of whether or not we were there. So, I mean, you're looking at an alternate reality, ladies and gentlemen. And God bless this family. This is the man who lost his life because our president, Biden, did not abide by the Doha Agreement. Okay? And if you want to look at the if you want to use the if you want to use the mentality of the left, every person who voted for Biden is responsible for this man losing his life. This honorable, good, human being who risked his life that fateful day when the May 1st withdrawal was clearly stated. We had to be out by May 1st, not only allow one airport to function in that country and have young men and women defend and protect hundreds of thousands rushing to leave. And Biden used the T-ban as security outside the only airport he left open. He completely botched that. It was worse than any day that took place under Trump's administration, even January. This man should be alive today. But what does Alec Baldwin do? What does Alec Baldwin do? He couldn't stand giving $5,000, so are you the same woman that I sent money to for your sister's husband whose life was ended during the Afghanistan exit? First of all, it was a botched exit because mashed potato brains Biden botched it. Okay? And so all Alec Baldwin had to do is just basically do something that's not possible for him. Just shut his mouth. He just had to shut his mouth. That's all he had to do. Then he goes and says, "Oh I just want to let you know that you were a part of, something that actually she wasn't a part of." Then he sent her. Then he sent his Instagram followers to harass a Gold Star family. I mean, this is the person that epitomizes the liberal Democrats who are trying to run the country. And they're so upset too because everything from Joe Rogan to to just journalists to any voice that just even offers a different viewpoint, they cannot stand. Alec Baldwin, for example, couldn't stand that he actually helped a family who happened to have different political beliefs. And they had every right to demonstrate, just like the demonstrations during the summer, which led to billions in property damage. Billions. Okay? Billions in property damage didn't take place that fateful day in January, and I was against that day in January. Okay? And so here you have a situation where here you have a situation where you have somebody who ended a woman's life. He was 18 inches away. 18 inches away. 18 inches away from somebody. JG. You know, I kind of want I want to, but then I kind of want to stay a little out of it just because it's so nasty. It's so nasty. JG, always a pleasure and an honor. I mean, the voicemail he left to his daughter is nasty. But I mean, you have to look at this man as like nobody is perfect. But then again, you don't have to be Alec Baldwin. Nobody is perfect. Everyone has said, bad things, perhaps on a voicemail or on the telephone, but not everyone's been arrested twice. And if you've been, you know what, maybe you've been arrested twice, fine, no big deal. But have you been arrested twice and kicked off of an airplane? And maybe there's somebody out there arrested twice and kicked off of an airplane, and because of what he or she has done in their lives, going to the pearly gates, and God's gonna say, yes, you know what, you know what, the good outweighed the bad. But not many people have been arrested and then sent to anger management and left horrible messages and then punched somebody and then kicked off of an airplane and was 18 inches away from another human being and ending her life. I mean, that's a lot of like and then sent Instagram followers to go harass a Gold Star family. I mean, it's just Alec Baldwin was like the lottery of um JG. Alec Baldwin was like the lottery of bad character traits. I mean, would you look at these people? Look at these people. Look what Chris Cuomo is accused of doing. I mean, they say that Trump was accused of this. He just all of those accusations, or the majority, came right when he was running. Okay, right when he was running, and they didn't have a call in to Larry King like Biden's accusation. So it's like, you know, the way the left works is, well, there are more accusations, so therefore the person with less accusations is a better human being. It's like, no, I don't think life works that way. I don't think life works that way. You have an entire political system going after one person, and he's still better. You have an entire political system going after Trump. You have an entire political system going after Donald Trump, and he's still a better human being than Alec Baldwin or Juicy Smollett or Michael Avenatti or Andrew or Chris Cuomo. I mean, that's something that you have to like. That's something that you have to kind of come to terms with. Look, did Trump end anyone's life? Yes or no? He didn't. Okay, if you wanna say, well, his policies did, Biden is single-handedly responsible for the 13 Americans who lost their lives in Afghanistan. Single-handedly responsible. Him and Blinken, bumbling Blinken, and their whole the entire incompetent, completely inept and incompetent administration. I mean, you hear people talk about the Doha Agreement, and they don't even. It's like they just don't understand. They just don't. They have no clue. Just have no clue what it was about. Exactly, JG. They just have no clue what it was about. It was about an agreement. It was about an agreement that was negotiated by the T-Ban, the government, and the U.S. to leave after 20 years of failed policies. Failed policies pushed by people like Alec Baldwin, the morally superior among us, and Biden. Okay? And then you have these imbeciles saying, "Oh well, Trump didn't. Trump didn't get people out. He didn't. He didn't get people out like he promised." Oh yes, he did. It was supposed to be for May 1st, 2021. Oh yes, he did. It was supposed to be May 1st, 2021. That was the. That was. That was. You know. That's what was supposed to take place. They were supposed to get out May 1st, 2021. They were not supposed to leave in the summer sometime whenever Biden's administration decided, I guess we have to actually get people out and abide by this because really it's really unpopular after 20 plus years of failed policies. They love their policies. Democrats and media, they love their policies. But again, it's like he has 4 lawsuits now. 4 lawsuits. Eric, thank you so very much. By the way, Eric, H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you for being amazing moderators. Thank you. Eric, I hope all is well. Um, so she was 18 inches away, and you have to ask, okay, why didn't he, why on earth didn't he check the firearm himself? Okay. Was there an issue with somebody being inebriated after lunch? Was there an issue um, was there an issue with I mean people just not caring anymore? Like did he not care about this low budget film? Why didn't he check himself? That's a question that needs to be asked. Why didn't he check himself? And why is this man having anything to do with loaded weapons considering his personality? The man has anger management issues. Okay, he was kicked off a plane. Alec Baldwin kicked off a plane over words with friends. The man's been like throughout his life. Alec Baldwin was. This is in 2011. Okay, in 2011, Alec Baldwin says he was kicked off a plane for playing an online game before the flight took off. 30 Rock stars he was asked to leave a Los Angeles, New York American Airlines flight for playing Words with Friends, a mobile word game. And this was like long before people just got kicked off of planes all the time. Like it wasn't in 2011. You really had to be a problem to be kicked off of a plane. Okay, I don't know how it is now, but you hear it all the time. You hear people all the time getting kicked off of airplanes. So he was extremely vocal customer. American. This passenger declined to turn off his phone when asked to do so at the appropriate time. The passenger ultimately stood up with the seatbelt light still on for the part and took his phone into the plane's lavatory. I mean, it's like the guy doesn't care. He doesn't care. And he never, this is the personality type. Alec Baldwin's personality type is the type of person who doesn't go up against anyone that could completely crush him. Snumgless Bash! Love you, my boy. Thank you so very much. Very kind of you. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the kind words. Snumgless Bench. Very, very kind of you. Thank you. I hope all is well. I appreciate your support always. I appreciate your support always. Thank you. And very kind words. Thank you so much. Snumgless Bench. Everyone here. This man is the type, Alec Baldwin's the type of man that only goes after people he thinks won't, physically harm him. So, be careful. Have a safe evening. Good luck. Snumgless Bench, good luck. Be safe. And good luck. Best of luck. Best of luck. But I mean, it's like, do you ever see him yelling at somebody that like that he thinks could, give him a bad day? No. This is the typical, like, they there was this hilarious, this absurd narrative or accusation that Trump was cruel. He was cruel. You couldn't find greater cruelty than what's taken place, what's than the cruelty exhibited by today's Democratic Party. Leaving Americans literally behind enemy lines. Leaving Americans. Letting facilities go to like 10 or 20 times capacity. Ignoring the economic devastation. They say, well, lives. How many people lost their lives from, how many more people from narcotics or ending their own lives or a loss of income? And you look at the paranoia and the trauma people have experienced the past 2 years. It's like Democrats, they just look at it as like, oh, well, we're trying to help and save people. It's like, well, you're not saving anybody. You're not helping anybody. You're not helping or saving anyone. And here's a person who doesn't even hear Alec Baldwin doesn't feel guilt. And then he goes into some absurd, like Alice in Wonderland. Oh, well, if I felt guilt, it's like, what are you talking about? This man is like in his own world. Alec Baldwin says he doesn't feel guilt since accidental rush shooting, but struggling physically. Are you kidding me? You don't feel any guilt? He does, and his whole thing is like, well, I'm not going to give anybody, like, he's saying he doesn't feel guilt because he doesn't want to pay money or go to jail or prison. But then he's saying everything possible to go to prison and to pay money in these and to give to lose these lawsuits. Like the man he's completely counterintuitive. You would think that if he was worried about things that if he was worried about saying too much, you would think that he would then maybe stop going on social media every 2 seconds, but that's not the case. Exactly. Eliza, anyone would feel guilt. So, how do you not feel guilt? Well, because this is by the way the cruel they talk about, oh, the cruelty of Trump. Trump is so cruel. He's so cruel. And it's like, look at this man. He ended someone's life and he feels no guilt at all. Even if it was, how do you not feel guilty? You didn't even check the firearm. You didn't even check the firearm. Exactly. Chikoroka, exactly. So he's been arrested twice, kicked off of an airplane, um, sent to anger management classes. He's being sued with four major lawsuits. And the main thing is he ended someone's life and he feels no guilt. It's like, that is very bizarre. And you have to understand, these are the people who are judging you. This type of human being is judging you. This type of human being is against firearm ownership. The Second Amendment wants to erase the Second Amendment. This is the type of person. Believe me, I know these types of people. They think they're morally superior. They live in a bubble. They don't know anyone with an opposing viewpoint. These types of people live in a very wealthy, um, pampered, privileged bubble. Seeker, I think anybody who wants to should. Anyone who needs or wants to should be able to in the country, as long as they don't have a criminal record. Um, these are the people like these are the people who want you to stop talking and expressing your viewpoints. They think that information leads to they think information that they dislike leads to people to the end leads to the demise of others. They can't prove it in a court of law. Their information has gone back and forth, or their viewpoints have changed rapidly within a short time period. But God forbid someone gives a different viewpoint. Oh my God, the 70s rocker is going to take his catalog away. And, that's the thing. They don't have any actual arguments. So what they do is they intimidate, they boycott, and they have, control of the social media algorithms. So what they try to do is suppress ideas and thought, but it doesn't work. Nothing they do can work. And this is a short look. This time period in American history will not last long. Okay, the American history is going towards the Joe Rogan philosophy, not the CNN philosophy. I should say that our country is going to move far away from today's modern Hollywood liberal mindset. You can't look if your ideas, like if you're who is that actor, the comedian, took a picture with Dave Chappelle. If you're a comedian and you take a picture with Dave Chappelle, and he's gracious enough to spend a moment to take a picture with you. A true legend in Dave Chappelle, a true legend. If Richard Pryor, if Babe Ruth takes a picture with you, okay? If Michael Jordan, if, like Wayne Gretzky, Dave Chappelle is the Wayne Gretzky of comedy, or Michael Jordan, or I mean, there's Richard Pryor and there's Eddie Murphy and, you know, I love Cat Williams. I think that he is one of the best ever also. But if you have Dave Chappelle or Cat Williams or Richard Pryor they're gracious enough to take a picture with you, okay? And Chappelle takes a picture with this really like this comedian that not many. I mean, yeah, he's I guess he's famous, but not like I don't rank him like I don't even really. He's had some funny moments, but and then the comedian, I even forgot his name. And then the comedian has to apologize? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The comedian apologizes? Oh, Patton Oswalt. Lengthy apology. Are you kidding me? You have to apologize to who are you apologizing to? These people only care. These people have the only political influence they have. The only political influence they have is having one tiny moment in the sun, being able to harness contempt and disdain through economic means, and that's it. And it's only, this is a fleeting moment. This is a fleeting moment, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bush administration moment, but for Democrats. George W. Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld ran the show, and media cuddled up to them, cozied up to them, and snuggled up to them in bed. It didn't last long. The Bush-Cheney moment didn't last long. Okay? Now you have liberals retweeting Bill Kristol, who was against marriage equality, the hypocrites, and he pushed for all the counterinsurgency wars. So you have these, but he's the good Republican. This is the type of Republican they want, whereas Trump is like the opposite. Like Trump is far more liberal than a Bill Kristol type of Republican or a Lincoln Project type of Republican. Far more liberal, but they don't get that. They don't like his personality. But how do you apologize? I want to know, how do you apologize when a person who's on the Mount Rushmore of comedy in many people's minds, the person who is, and what did Dave Chappelle do wrong? Like these, like anyone who just doesn't literally sell his soul to today's, fabricated, contrived consensus or groupthink. If you don't sell your soul to groupthink and you actually have viewpoints that would be totally fine 4 years ago, then you're a big problem. So when Patton Oswalt apologizes, he's not giving a sincere apology, almost certainly. What he's doing is, oh my God, a whole lot of people are upset. That's going to affect my pocketbook. And that's the only way the left-leaning political side, that's the only way they get their vantage point across. The only way. If they can't harness an economic consequence, Molly, thank you. If they can't harness an economic consequence, if they can't boycott, if they can't intimidate through money, through, by the only way to really silence somebody is to intimidate them and, threaten their livelihood, their ability to feed their family. That's really the only way to truly silence. And that's the only, okay. The ideas on the left don't work. That's why the left doesn't even apply those ideas. You can say they're noble. Medicare for all is a noble idea. Democrats have no intention ever of passing it. You could see what Biden did to Ukraine. This entire thing is Biden's fault and NATO's fault. They tell Ukraine, oh, well, if you want to get in, you can get in. You can join NATO if you want to. Then Ukraine says, President Zelensky of Ukraine says, oh, we want to join NATO. And then Biden says, no, you really can't because you're too corrupt. So, but we're gonna stand up for your right to want to join NATO while we actively prevent you from joining. And then it's all public relations. And like, now NATO has a reason to exist because of Russian aggression. Meanwhile, Russia supplies 30 to 40% of natural gas and oil, which completely undermines the narrative that we have to decarbonize in 10, 15 years. Well, you look now, why doesn't Europe just tell Putin and Russia, hey, we have enough renewable energy. You can take your natural gas and, place it where the sun don't shine. Oh, that's right. Because the renewables are not technologically advanced enough to meet the energy needs of all of Europe. So, it's like you have this person right here who they're not even reporting. Like, very few people are actually reporting on what's taking. I mean, they do report, but you could see also like media slowly distancing themselves from Alec Baldwin, slowly but surely. And there are all these people who are like, oh, disgraced actor, disgraced politician, who are on the left. Like Andrew Cuomo is now viewed as a disgraced politician. Before he was, like last year, he was America's governor. They gave him an Emmy. Okay, they gave him an Emmy award. If I read the Emmy award, oh my God, I wish I could have like archived it, or if somebody archived it, email me at contactgoodman78@gmail.com, the actual press release of the Emmy being given, like the statement of the Emmy award to Andrew Cuomo. It talked about how he was like a leader and oh my God, he was so amazing and all this nonsense. I mean, they gave Andrew Cuomo an Emmy. I mean, that's all you need to know. It really is all you need to know. They gave Andrew Cuomo an Emmy. What more do you need to know about um, American politics? What more do you need to know? That pretty much says it all. Pretty much says it all. And it's like, well, this pretty much says it all. When you're giving Andrew Cuomo an Emmy, that's like basically giving Alec Baldwin a citizenship award. That it says everything you need to know. Let's see here. Um, Stock market had its worst month since March of 2020. And the only thing that saved the market today was Apple. So Apple saved the market today. But let's see here. If you look at rent, inflation, you have Rents are up 30% in some cities. Okay? Monthly rents skyrocket. Gee, you think maybe ending the economy 2 years ago had anything to do with it? Then they had an eviction moratorium, which was only going to lead to skyrocketing rent costs. Because eventually, the people or corporations that own these apartments throughout the country need to make up their losses. It's just basic economics. It's not rocket science, but it's rocket science for the morally superior liberal Democrats or AOC. Definitely, it's rocket science for them. And so, hold on one second. When your rent goes up 40%, rising rents are driving inflation at an alarming rate. Gee, maybe it's those wonderful policies that they pushed for. Oh, maybe it's those wonderful policies that Democrats pushed for. Like we've done as a society pretty much everything that the Democratic Party and media have said. Tanked, shut down and tanked the economy, ended economic activity, done everything that they've said. And it's resulted in a catastrophe. An absolute catastrophe. Rhonda! Thank you so very much. Rhonda Irizarry, thank you so very, very much. Greatly appreciated. Cassie, thank you. Rhonda, thank you so very, very much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, Rhonda. Hope you're having a great evening. Rising rents are driving inflation. Well, maybe inflation is driving rising rents. The Federal Reserve Board said increases approach 40% in some markets. You better believe it's 40%. You better believe it's 40% in Democratic run cities. Almost certainly. You better believe it's 40% in Democratic run cities. Let's look at Rent, New York. Shoot. Let's look. Rent, New York. Hold on one second. Rhonda, thank you. So, Manhattan rents were the highest ever for December. Okay? They talk about wealth inequality. The greatest wealth inequality exists in New York and Los Angeles. these are cities run by liberal Democrats who think Alec Baldwin is just so much better of a human being than Trump, even though he's categorically not. Molly, thank you. I have friends who moved there. Sharon! Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for joining, Sharon Isaacson. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. The average apartment rent in Manhattan hit $4,400. Wow. Uh, that's basically a mortgage. $4,400. I mean, Manhattan obviously is. The most expensive place in the one of the most, I think the most expensive place in the country to rent. And it's like you have to understand that, like, they'll never put two and two together. The far left or the left or Democrats or whatever, they won't ever point to. So this is the second year of Biden, and all of these things are taking place, and they won't actually blame Biden. So none of this happened during Trump's administration. None. And you say, well, it wasn't us. It was the you know what. Well, it was your reaction to the you know what. This was the most apoplectic, hysterical reaction to you know what. It's unbelievable. And people don't, I mean, people are starting to put two and two together. They're starting to say, oh, okay, this happened because of one political side. Mm. But here, I mean, rent is up. New York rent skyrocketed. So around New York, I mean, has AOC even talked about that? Oh, she says price gouging. That's another way of saying inflation. Price gouging. You could say, well, it's that could happen in an environment where there's low inflation. Then you could really say price gouging. But when you say price gouging during record high prices for all, like pretty much everything from rent to food, and it's not just price gouging, it's actually inflation. So AOC can't say, oh, our policies caused this. I agree with you, Ron. The people are coming. Bill Maher's coming around big time. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Gas is up. Everything is up. Everything is up. And you have to understand, like, this is like normal. This is like they do not think of this as a negative. They don't think of this like Democrats don't think of New York rents skyrocketing amid record. Where's AOC? Where is AOC in this? What's her take on that? Why? It's like, why are all these terrible things taking place? Crime, inflation, homelessness, wealth inequality. Why are all these things taking place in Democratic run cities? Does anyone, can they answer that question? JG, why not? Oh, I don't want to hear that talk. I don't want to hear things like that. I got enough problems with my own. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I will be back at around 10:30 this evening. And everyone here, thank you to my super chat. Thank you so very, very much. Be here at around 10:30 p.m. Pacific tonight. We'll have a live stream, a very important one on a Durham Probe Revelation. And ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe. Thanks so much, everyone. To my super chat, thank you. Have a great, great evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I'll be here at 10:10.